Welcome everyone to our webinar today. We have a very special guest, a friend of mine that actually I met when we were out at a convention in Denver, Colorado. My husband introduced me to Dr. Shaun McKee, who was in our company LifeVantage, and I was so impressed with her. He said, you've got to meet this radiologist. And since I am also a radiology tech and in the radiology field, I was like, yes, I need to meet this radiologist. This is so cool. And she is an amazing, amazing woman. First of all, thank you for serving our country in the U.S. Air Force. And you have many accolades. I'm going to quick read your bio, but I wanted to bring on Dr. Shaun McKee because she is a mover and a shaker, a leader in our company, but also because she just has this amazing ability to be a student in this industry. And he and I both were in the medical field or are in the medical field. And so for us to be coming to this company because of the amazing science that we have with this product line, it is like none other on the market. And that is why this company is so different. And we have something so unique in the marketplace. And so I am super excited to introduce my guest today, Dr. Shaun McKee. She's a neuro-radiologist, a double board certified neuro-radiologist, that is. And she got her degree from the University of Florida. She graduated summa cum laude, and she is highly competitive. She is also an amazing athlete. She is also a mother, a wife. She is an ultra marathon runner. She is an Ironman athlete, but she just loves life and does everything all out, all in. And that's why I'm just so excited to welcome you to the call. And if you know what radiologists do all day, they sit in a dark room and analyze images and make diagnosis of really usually some pretty, critical things like brain tumors and, different conditions in the human body. And so the knowledge that Dr. Shaun McKee has of the human body and how it works and the importance of lowering oxidative stress in our body and biohacking our bodies for better health, she gets it. And so I'm so excited to have her share with us today so we can all learn and be educated on this amazing product line that our company has and a way to biohack using nutrigenomics. So I want to welcome you to the call today, Dr. Shaun McKee. Thank you for sharing your lunch hour with us and sharing your knowledge with us. So thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome, Marilyn. I love talking about this. It's, my mission is now, I used to think being a neuroradiologist was the best job in the world, and it really is. It's very exciting. You get to be like the Sherlock Holmes for other doctors for brain conditions and spine. But I always say you never want to need my services. And, I can, tell you what's wrong with you, but I can't really help you as, as a help, to make yourself feel better. You got to do something else. So that's where this kind of comes in and fills that void for me. So I really, truly enjoy letting people know what we have here is a better way to turn your body's healing pathways on. And so we'll start with mentioning that I definitely want to make sure everyone on this webinar has an opportunity to watch this ABC News report that aired back in 2005. You can find it on biohackingyourbody.com or thelilyyellowpill.net, either one. And it's a very ancient history as far as a news report goes, but it is the beginning of the company's story in that they had found something that did something nothing else had previously been shown to be able to do. You could take antioxidants and they would fight free radicals on a 1-to-1 ratio, but nothing ever really moved the needle of something called oxidative stress the way that this did. And that's why it was such a big deal and still is. And oxidative stress is simply, rusting or oxidation. It's what happens to an apple when you cut it. It's what happens to metal when you leave it out in the rain. And in humans, we oxidize because we breathe oxygen and eat food, and the byproducts of that are free radicals. Free radical damage or oxidative stress leads to all kinds of things that go wrong with our bodies after the age of 20, or even when we're under 20 if we're exposed to extraordinary stress. So it's responsible for every ism and itis and osis that you can imagine that's rather unpleasant. And these universities are studying the effects of oxidative stress and potential ways to mitigate those effects with drugs or with even natural products. And what I love about the products that LifeVantage has, especially the Nerve2 activator Protandim, is that they have real peer-reviewed science and published studies done by major medical schools, in fact paid for by third parties in medical schools, National Institutes of Health, National Institute on Aging, American Heart Association, etc. And to this fact, oxidative stress is such a problem. Drug companies who don't have the natural products but have synthetic products that are patentable are researching ways to reduce oxidative stress with drugs that activate this pathway that Protandim activates, the Nerve2 pathway. Again, the difference between Nerve2 activation and activating your own body versus taking antioxidants is the difference between 1 to 1 million and 1 to 1. Your own enzymes that Nerve2 activates neutralize 1 million free radicals a second. And that's way better and more effective. This pathway is such a revolution in such an extraordinary change from the traditional way of addressing these problems that in a meta-analysis of all the literature that's peer-reviewed and published, done by Dr. Martin Pall, who I believe has been nominated for the Nobel Prize, he states in his conclusion with Stephen Levine that Nerve2 may well become the most extraordinary preventive and most extraordinary therapeutic breakthrough in the history of medicine. So that's a lot, saying a lot, and that's because Nerve2 is really remarkable. It's been called the longevity assurance factor by Oregon State University. And it really just turns on these survival genes, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of survival genes that help your body respond to stress. We're all exposed to stress. One of the effects of oxidative stress, aside from cellular damage and membrane damage, is actual damage to this tiny organelle in our body, which I like to call the batteries of the cell. They produce all 95% of our energy, making ATP. And these little organelles are called mitochondria. You remember learning about those in not medical school, in high school biology class. And mitochondrial dysfunction is now becoming quite central to the research on aging and just disease in general. In fact, one of the most recent Elliott Crescent Awards was given to Dr. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he actually is studying mitochondrial effects, this pathway is called the master regulator of this mitochondrial biogenesis. Once the mitochondria are damaged, they've become unrepairable, and so the body kind of recycles the parts to make other proteins, but now the cell's operating with fewer mitochondria. So you've got more oxidative stress causing damage. You've got fewer batteries and less energy for cellular function. And that leads to cellular dysfunction. So the combination of oxidative stress and mitochondrial dysfunction just creates a very unhealthy state. And so the Protandim Nerve1 increases mitochondrial biogenesis. So you have more healthy mitochondria, which will help your cells function. And the combination of decreased oxidative stress and increased mitochondrial biogenesis is really a 1-2 punch. Excuse me. Pardon me, I had a little dry throat. So there are four real pillars of health. We've talked about oxidative stress, we've talked about mitochondrial dysfunction, but there's also gut health. Your gut microbiome is essentially a 4 to 5 pound, I put quotes, organ that is responsible for cellular communication, neurological signaling, antioxidant production, anti-inflammatory, whether or not you burn fat. It's a very, very important part of your health. And so the third of the core 4 pillars of health would be the gut microbiome. And what most probiotics have that they're struggling with are, one, the microbes are exposed to air, either in a capsule. If you shake a capsule, you can hear the ch-ch of the powder exposed to air. If it's a liquid, whether it's refrigerated or not, it's still exposed to air, and that damages those delicate microbes. The other thing is, once you swallow the probiotic, the little microbes are exposed to the acid environment of the stomach, which also damages them. So only 4% of most probiotics on the market actually make it alive to the colon, which is where they're needed. The Physique ProBio utilizes a patented delivery system called BioTrack that addresses that. It's vacuum sealed, so it's not exposed to air, and it's also protected, time-release, double-walled, will not be exposed, letting the microbes be exposed to the acid environment of the stomach. So that fully 60 to 70% of the microbes make it alive to the colon, which is where they're needed. So big difference, 15 times more bioavailable. And omegas, we need to take an omega-3 supplement in our standard American diet because it is so replete with omega-6. And omega-3s and omega-6s compete along the same pathway. And if there's an omega-6 predominance, there's an inflammatory outcome, arachidonic acid, inflammation, cytokines, not good. But if you counterbalance that by adding omega-3s, then the pathway goes towards anti-inflammatory. The other benefits of our omega are that it's not oxidized. If you've ever eaten an omega or smelled an omega or had omegas and had fish bursts, most of them on the market smell rancid, smell like rotten fish because the oils inside of them are rancid. Ingesting rancid oils is not a good idea. It causes oxidative stress. It increases oxidation and inflammation. So when you're taking an omega with the intent of reducing your inflammation and you're actually ingesting rancid oils, you're doing the exact opposite of what you intend to do. So if you have an omega and it smells like rotten fish or smells fishy, I wouldn't feed it to my dog. I really wouldn't. It's got to be thrown away. This omega is molecularly distilled, free of PCBs, mercury, heavy metals. It is not exposed to air. It's got the lowest oxidation index on the market. Also has added omega-7s, which is important for cellular communication and optimal body composition. And omega-7s are best utilized with omega-3s. This omega supplement has no omega-6s in it. We don't need to supplement with omega-6s. We already get too many. It also has vitamin D3. So the combination of omega-3s, 7s, and D3 make this a wonderful, wonderful addition. So the core four, Protanum Nerf 1, Protanum Nerf 2, ProBio, and Omega Plus makes the Vitality Stack. You save money if you get it all together, which is why I get the stack and I don't get the individual bottles. But I will always take the Vitality Stack. The other thing I'll always use is the True Science skincare system. It's the only patented, it's the only Nerf 2 activated skincare system. I call it 5th generation because it's really addressing the optimal gene expression in all 7 layers of the skin. And you can see the results in as little as 30 days. This is a 60-day difference. And you can see how much tighter her skin is around her mouth and how much less the eyelid skin is crepey. And she just looks younger. And indeed, my own skin, at 52, I have more compliments on my skin today than I did in my 30s, and that is a fact. My hairdresser used to tell me I needed to at least wear a tinted moisturizer because my skin tone was very uneven. And I just looked at him and I said, I think I at least need to get a new hairdresser. So there. Axio is another thing I drink every day. I just was having a little bit. It's liquid brain food. The ingredients are specifically chosen to be Nerf 2 activators that penetrate the blood-brain barrier, and it promotes a good mood, focus, clarity, calm, and it gives you a little physical boost if you get the caffeinated one. It has 100 milligrams of caffeine. If you get the decaf, it's just more mental focus and calm clarity. And you can see it really makes a difference in a student's ability to focus and concentrate and write neatly. But that's not all. I mean, it just does, it's what I use to help me work out in the morning. I use the caffeinated one. In the afternoons, I drink the decaf to keep me on task. If I'm ever taking a long trip by car, you better believe I have my Axio. The Physique Weight Management System is another product line that I love because it's a scientifically designed program to optimize lean muscle mass, lean body composition. There's a cleanse that you can use once a month for a week, or you can use a little, you can use one a day and just keep a generalized prebiotic. And it's not a stimulant. It's not going to cause you to, be chained to the bathroom. It just helps you go better, the cleanse. The probiotic we've already talked about. The fat burn is the only fat burn on the market that I know of that has 2 patented fat burners that are non-stimulant and all natural herbal plants, plant-based fat burners, Svetol and Sinatrol. And in clinical trials, they've been shown to increase lean muscle mass and increase the burning of belly fat by up to almost 300%, 270+%. And the belly fat, that visceral fat, is the kind that is unhealthy. It's metabolically active. It's toxic, and we want to burn that fat for fuel. The protein is delicious. It tastes absolutely great, just mixed with cold water and ice, or you can mix it with almond milk. It's not a meal replacement. It's only 70 calories, 12 grams of protein, 1 gram of organic cane sugar, and it's sweetened otherwise with stevia. It, as I said, it tastes great. It makes a wonderful dessert. If you're craving sweets during the day, you can just mix up a vanilla Physique shake. You can make it a meal replacement if you add fruits and peanut butter and protein powder and almond milk. And I do that for breakfast every day and absolutely love it. And then my dogs, both of them take Pet Tandem. I used to give my dog Pro Tandem before they came out with the bacon, liver, and chicken flavored Pet Tandem. And now he begs for this every day. So, and I can tell they really, and they can tell that they ask for it. They just, well, my younger dog is pretty healthy, but my older dog wags his tail more, and has always wagged his tail more since I started giving him Pro Tandem. So, and I can definitely tell in his mobility if we've forgotten to give it to him for a number of days, which we don't anymore. Let's see. Okay. So, as far as the opportunity to actually use these products and refer others to use these products, it's really something I would recommend to people whether I got paid for it or not. It just so happens that when I became a distributor, I got the big box of it because I knew I was going to use it anyway, and I saved on shipping. That automatically made me a distributor. I did not plan on doing this as a business, as a neuroradiologist. As I said, I already said I thought I had the best job in the world, and I was married to a gastroenterologist. We didn't need an extra income stream. We didn't need an extra job, but absolutely felt compelled to share this breakthrough with people, and the fact that people can feel better who don't feel well. And everyone really needs to optimize their health. Even if you're a super athlete, you need to optimize your health. So why not tell people about it? And since I'm telling people about it, the company figures, why not send her a thank you check every week? So these are the different ranks in the company. And you can see, there's a little bit of a thank you check just from sharing it a little bit. And if you end up sharing it a lot and building a network of other people who share it a little or a lot, you're going to get a big thank you check. As far as the timing of the opportunity, every company really has this timing curve for momentum. It's called the S curve of business. And Peter Drucker, an internationally famous economist, came up with this curve, and it basically shows that in the beginning, only the early adopters are going to be on board. That would be like the people that are in line at the iPhone store 2 days before the new iPhone is released. And early adopters, that would probably include myself and Marilyn, which, it's a little, nobody's heard of it, people are kind of waiting to see, but eventually people start hearing about all the great results and all the great things that are happening with people who are on these products, and soon the early majority gets on board. And we're right before that phase. We are absolutely timing wise, as a company, people are starting to find out about us. People are starting to find out about people's results on these amazing products. And so really, I think if you're thinking about getting on board, the timing couldn't be better. We've got a full product line of unique products, most of which are patented, patent pending, or proprietary, that work, that people stay on, that people don't ever want to stop taking. And you know, what better business could you be into, and having something everyone needs that nobody really has heard about it, that people are easily going to put that into their regimen in substitution of other things that didn't work as well, that they're going to keep taking, you know, and make a difference. So I just think it's a real no-brainer for me. So getting started, the Platinum Pack has the most product, gives you the biggest savings, also has many benefits, including free customers from the company, 2 tickets to the next event, which the events are phenomenal. They actually teach you so much. They actually take a year off of your learning curve about the products, about the business. You meet some amazing people like Marilyn, and they're just wonderful. And I go to every single one. The Gold Pack also has 1 ticket to the event. The Platinum Pack has 2. Gold Pack has half the product line. You could choose either the weight management half or the skincare half. I prefer to have great skin and an optimal weight, so you know, I use both. Or the Silver Pack, which just has a few of our products. And they all come with free shipping, as does the Vitality Stack and the Travel Vitality Stack. The True Science Skincare Regimen also comes with free shipping. There's many ways we get paid. I mentioned that those ranks have a various average earnings, but they're paid to us whether we do direct sales each week. We get paid weekly. And we also get paid based on the volume of product that moves through the company from our network. The people that we're helping to share, we actually get a little bit of an override from that. And I think that's neat. Generational matching bonus also rewards us for helping our teammates succeed, which is wonderful. And when you get to the elite ranks, the company actually lets you partake in a portion of the the company's global revenue. Not global profits, global revenue. And it's a $200+ million company. So you can kind of do the math, 4% if you're a Pro 10, or 1% if you're a Pro 7, or 2 and 3 if you're in between. That's pretty neat. There's not that many people there. And once you get there, you get to share in the global revenues, whether you have someone in Japan or Australia on your team or not, you're sharing. And that's really exciting, because I did not build Japan to be, you know, 10% of our revenue, but because I got to the elite status, I get to share in the revenues from Japan. How awesome is that? So it says that is the end. There's a little bit more we could go into. Let's see, I don't even know what this is yet. I think we'll probably end it there, Marilyn. Keep it short since it's lunchtime.
I love that, the concise information that you gave us, but a little bit about your story personally, because the reason you got started taking Protandim and the Nerve 2 activation is because you were feeling so tired and run down. You were a triathlete, you were a busy mom, a radiologist, you know, burning the candle at both ends. Plus you were working at a fitness gym. Do you want to share your story of kind of your journey of discovering what Protandim was, and then how you got started with the program?
Yes, absolutely. I apologize for not starting with that. I got so excited to talk about LifeVantage. My doctor actually told me about this, and I went to see my doctor at the sweet urging of my husband, who recognized that I was flat out exhausted because he was having to come into the bedroom every morning with a cup of coffee, hoping the aroma would get me out of bed, and I would fall asleep sitting on the couch listening to him tell me about his day at like 7:30 at night. So he really knew that something wasn't right. And when I went to see my doctor, she put me on dozens of supplements, and I took 28 pills a day of natural supplements, including, well, I added, you know, thyroid hormone and testosterone to that, but the rest was natural supplements. And I did not really like taking that many pills. And I told her so. And when I went back to see her 6 months later, that's when she said, well, there's one product that's clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress by 40% on average in 30 days in everyone who takes it. And they have real peer-reviewed science done by major medical schools. I was like, well, why didn't you tell me about that 6 months ago? And she says, well, I just found out about it 2 months ago. So I knew I was going to take it for the rest of my life, and I knew I was going to force feed it to my husband, and I knew I was going to give it to my dog, because I know dogs oxidize faster than people. And I didn't plan on giving it to my kids because they were healthy, but then I later decided to add it to them because they're athletes. But yeah, so I bought the big box, which made me a distributor, which again, I had no intention of working the business, but I knew I was going to take the product for the next, 80 years. So why not save a little bit of money on shipping? And now the big box is even better. It not only saves you on shipping, it's free shipping. And not only saves you on shipping and free shipping, it gives you a discount on the products that come in it. So you save 30% with that. So I think becoming a distributor, getting in the platinum pack is, like I said, if you can swing it and you can prepay for your supplements, why wouldn't you, So that's my story.
Yeah. And then you were also noticing but how it was helping you, and then you were like sharing it with people kind of just because you're caring about people, and you actually, without really intending on working the business, like you said, you weren't needing the extra income, but is because your passion of helping people. And I think that's where most of us are at, is like, for us, we're going to share this with our loved ones and friends because we care about them, regardless if we get paid or not. But the cool thing is like Shaun and I are not in the same direct line, but we're building LifeVantage and building this company and are, being the voice of LifeVantage and working together. Even though we're not on the same team, we are Team LifeVantage. And that's what's cool about the way our structure of our commissions is because once you hit that elite rank in those pools, you get to share in that profit share, or the revenue sharing. So we are branding LifeVantage together, and that is why our company is so unique. We're patented, and we're publicly traded on the NASDAQ. And then peer-reviewed science. Do you want to share why that's so important with physicians, Dr. McKee?
Yes. Well, one thing, a lot of products have a scientist that they pay to stand there in a lab coat and go, I agree with these, I concur, and the labs are owned by the companies, and they can, come to any conclusion that they want because they're running the studies, right? But when you have independent research that's actually initiated and funded by medical schools and published in peer-reviewed journals, that's an added tier that really only about 5% of published studies make. It means that the study was submitted to a panel of peers, experts in the field, and they can look at the design and construct of the study and critique whether their methods were appropriate. Maybe they make suggestions, go back and add a control group here, or, what about the strength of this? And it really does go back and forth with some serious critique and insurance. So that this assures that the study results are really valid and scrutinized. Now, we don't have double-blind, placebo-controlled prospective crossover clinical trials on diseases because we're simply not a drug. We're not intended to treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate any disease. We simply are supporting the structure and function of the human body, and that's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. Now, when you're, what was the study that got your attention at first when you started doing your own due diligence and your own research?
The one that said it reduced oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days was huge. The next one was the synergy. And the next one was, there was a study that's showing that in experimental models that induced right-sided heart failure in animals, that those animals that weren't taking Protandim, even though typically the cause of right-sided heart failure is elevated pulmonary, hypertension or elevated pulmonary artery pressures, because the heart is pumping against a high pressure and eventually the pump fails, right? Well, in the animals that were fed Protandim, they were pumping against the same pressure, but they didn't fail. And when they looked at the hearts, they realized the reason is there was no scar tissue in those hearts. And then the other hearts in typical cardiac failure and pumping against hypertension, the reason that there is stress and failure of that heart is because fibrosis occurs, scarring, as a result of that extra stress. And fibrous tissue doesn't contract the way myocardial tissue contracts. And so when you've got a portion of that heart muscle that's filled with scar tissue, it's not pumping very well, so it will fail. When I saw that the animals that were fed Protandim and their hearts were fighting against this increased pulmonary hypertension and they didn't get scar tissue, that was big to me. That was very big.
Right. And then also you were kind of taking a lot of the herbals, you were taking 28 supplements a day before you started Protandim. Do you want to share why that was important with the synergy of taking with our 5 herbals in Protandim, why that synergy is so much more effective than all of the 28 herbals and supplements you were taking prior?
Yes. Okay. So that's one of the studies that impressed me was the synergy. And I was taking curcumin. I was taking green tea. I was not taking bacopa and ashwagandha, but I had taken milk thistle occasionally. But you can see that these supplements are great, and they do induce, NRF2 a little bit. They do induce the production of survival genes, but nowhere near what Protandim does. And that's the recipe that matters. It's the synergy. You cannot throw cocoa and flour and butter and sugar together and expect to have an award-winning cake. But grandma can throw those same things together in her specific award-winning recipe, and she's going to win the World's Fair, right? So there's a difference. Recipe does matter. And I was able to simplify my regimen quite a bit. And I love the Vitality Stack. That's one of the reasons I love the Vitality Stack so much. It really takes the complexity out of achieving optimal health.
Exactly. So we have milk thistle, bacopa, green tea, turmeric, and ashwagandha in the NRF2 activator Protandim. That's what activates that pathway. Do you remember when we launched the NRF1 product, the mitochondrial biogenesis? You want to share how important that is as well, and why that is so significant? Because is there any other mitochondrial biogenesis product on the market that you know of other than maybe?
Yeah, well, there's lots of them. There's alpha acetyl L-carnitine, alpha lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10, and they're all great. Resveratrol even a little bit, but they all work through the PGC1 alpha pathway. And what's unique about the NRF1 product is it turns on mitochondrial biogenesis independent of that pathway. It does some through that pathway as well, but it really turns on the master regulator of mitochondrial biogenesis, nuclear respiratory factor 1. So that's why it's patent pending. It is very unique and really synergistically works with Protandim NRF2 to pack that 1-2 punch for cellular health and energy.
I love that. Yes. And so I think that's what speaks to a lot of the medical professionals in our company, is that our research and product line is so peer reviewed and so top tier and scientifically validated. Again, we just released the 24th study on PubMed on Protandim, or the significance of our product line is amazing. Have you ever seen any other? I don't know if you've been involved in any other network marketing companies, but
I know that a lot. I mean, some will pay for research, and they have some studies, but I've never seen anything like the amount of independently initiated and funded studies that we have, especially on a brand name product. There's a lot of studies on the individual ingredients. The reason there are those is the drug companies want to know what the basic ingredients do so they can extract and modify compounds and patent them and create drugs. But ours is definitely pretty unique in that regard.
Yeah. And one more thing about the business and marketing question is, a lot of physicians are a little bit disgruntled in the current state of our healthcare system. It used to be, physicians had a little bit autonomy. They weren't, controlled by big medical systems, and a lot of physicians today are getting out of practice because of that. And there's a lot of people looking for a side hustle if they are physicians out there. What would you say to them?
I lost you, Marilyn. You're muted. Can you hear me? You're muted. Did you mean to mute yourself? You seemed like you muted yourself before you were done asking the question. But basically, you know, this is definitely not practicing, you know, medicine. We're not doing that. We're just helping people increase their health and wellness. And as physicians, why wouldn't you want to do that? And if you can make a side income stream, all the better.
Exactly. And that's what I'm sorry, I hit mute accidentally. But yes, that is why there's so many physicians attracted to other, you know, income streams, is because a lot of the, you know, the way it used to be as far as, you know, getting paid what they're worth maybe, or not having to be pushed to see so many patients. I don't know. I know that there's a lot of physicians or professionals looking for something as another stream of income because of that. And also because we care about people and their wellness and their health, and we have that natural inclination to share this with people because we truly do care about them. And so in summary, I just appreciate your time. I know you're on your lunch hour, you're working, and so I don't want to keep you any longer, but do you have any final statements that you'd like to just share with us to close out this webinar today, Dr. McKee?
No, just, you know, if you're looking at it, if you're thinking about it, you know, really, how long did it take you to decide to, you know, eat a salad instead of a burger? You know, it's just, if you're thinking about being healthy, you don't need to wait any longer. Just get the stack, get it, try it for 6 months and take a poll of where you are today and do it again in 6 months. And most people will find there's 2 to 10 things that they can put their finger on that are dramatically better in their life.
Exactly. And is the reason you say 4 to 6 months? I know that's what the glutathione is upregulated. Do you want to just quick share a little bit about that?
Yes, and when you've taken protein, well, the study shows that at 4 months, 120 days, glutathione is upregulated 300% intracellularly, and glutathione is a master antioxidant. It's responsible for phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification. It really is instrumental in helping your body kind of take out the trash, so to speak. And so you want to, I like to say, you want to drive your car, you know, when you have a car, you put the parking brake on, you can drive that car with the parking brake engaged. It doesn't drive very well, it doesn't handle very well, it doesn't go very fast. But, you know, when you have no glutathione in your body, I liken it to driving your car with the parking brake engaged. Now you have more glutathione at 4 months. You've just taken the parking brake off. Don't you want to give your body a little test drive for a couple months to see how it runs without the parking brake engaged? So give it 6 months, at least, you know, at least a decade for every, I mean, at least a month for every decade or partial decade that you've been oxidizing.
Exactly. Well, I love that analogy, the parking brake. So let's take that parking brake off and let's make sure that we're utilizing our pathways, that pharmacy inside of us that is God-given. And that's what we're so excited about sharing with everyone today. So thank you again, Dr. McKee. I'm going to let you go, and I appreciate your time. And get back to the person that shared this webinar with you, and they can explain in so much more detail, but we just wanted to give you a quick overview of how excited we are about this product line, this company, the timing, the trends, and this amazing company and product that is changing lives every day. So thank you for joining us, and I'm gonna wrap this Zoom for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.